Hi everyone, this is Andrea Gallo. I am in Lake Charles right now, and we are reporting in Lake Charles about the aftermath of Hurricane Laura, which came through here last night as a Category 4 storm. I'm in the back seat of a truck right now. We have our photographer in the front seat. She's driving us, and I'm gonna be giving you guys a look at what we're seeing around Lake Charles right now. We are on Ryan Street, which, if you're familiar with Lake Charles, is kind of one of the main drags. And as you can see, just tons and tons of wind damage over here. There was a lot of concern kind of going into the storm about what Lake Charles was gonna look like afterward. And one of the things that people were mostly worried about was the storm surge and whether the entire city would be underwater. We are not seeing that kind of water in Lake Charles. As you can see here from our view, the roads are pretty empty, but we are seeing, oh, and that's an emergency alert going off.
On all of our phones.
We're in the middle of a disaster zone right now, so just bear with us, you guys. But as you can see, so there really isn't a lot of water here. The damage is largely wind, and man, it is devastating. There are a lot of just mangled buildings, mangled trees. Look right here. This is a gas station that we're passing right now. I mean, look at how completely destroyed this whole thing has been. And you can see, I mean, it's strange because every building is a little bit different. It's not like you can say at this point, oh, you know, this whole block has been ruined or whatever, but definitely a lot of damage everywhere we're seeing on Ryan Street right now. There are a lot of downed power lines, a lot of poles, and then there are a lot of people just starting to get out here and trying to assess just how bad things were last night over here.
Do you want me to keep going straight?
Yeah.
That might not be an option.
Whatever you can do. So, like I said, we're not seeing the water damage that you would expect, but the wind damage is just really, really unbelievable, really true to a Category 4 hurricane, and maybe even some tornadoes. We're not exactly sure what all came through here last night, but having covered tornadoes in the past, some of this looks the way that tornado damage looks. You can see out the back, like, all of these down trees and power lines.
I'm parking for a second.
And if you guys have questions for us, feel free to put them in the comments stream and we'll try to answer them for you. We just got here to Lake Charles, so we haven't seen a whole lot yet, but what we have seen has already been devastating. We are on Ryan Street in Lake Charles. This is one of the main drags of Lake Charles, and what we're seeing so far on Ryan Street is just a lot of downed power lines, a lot of trees, a lot of utility poles, that sort of thing. I'm seeing a question about McNeese. We haven't made it over there quite yet. Whenever we do, we'll definitely let you guys know and keep you guys updated. So we're driving through, just keeping an eye on the damage. See all these trees right here?
The building straight ahead is the one that has a bunch of blown out windows.
And if you've watched much of the national news about Hurricane Laura, one of the kind of iconic images that's been going around this morning is this tower in downtown Lake Charles that has lost all of its windows in the storm last night. If you look straight ahead at our line of sight, you can see that tower. We're not close enough to it to really get a good look at it yet, But as you can see from right in front of us, I mean, look at all of these downed power lines. Look at these trees. I'm seeing a couple questions about the storm surge. So the governor said this morning that the surge wasn't quite as bad as they expected it to be, which is great news. And I think that we're kind of seeing that play out in Lake Charles right now, because had the storm surge been quite as bad, we wouldn't be able to be driving through this right now. The streets would not be clear. A couple of people asking about what's going on with the chemical plant in Lake Charles. We are hearing these reports, we're getting emergency alerts on our phone, but just like the rest of you, we don't exactly know. A couple of our co-workers are over there in Westlake right now, keeping an eye on that situation, and they'll keep everyone updated as this all continues to develop. Like I said, we are on Ryan Street in Lake Charles right now.
Lake Park is about to be on the right. Lock Park, I'm sorry.
This is a look at Lock Park. Sorry guys. See how the what was maybe once a pavilion is totally smashed in. And as we make our way down Ryan Street, we're just seeing more and more devastation. Really, so we drove over here, and right after we got past the Calcasieu Parish line, we noticed a huge difference. All of a sudden, there was just tremendous storm damage, and we're seeing just how bad it was. Like I said, if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and we'll try to answer them as we go. We're turning onto 6th Street right now. So this playground held up pretty well. But you can see this is a little neighborhood right here. Roofs are mostly still on these houses, which is good to see. Some people had been boarding up ahead of time. But still a lot of trees, a lot of damage.
6th Street near Ryan Street.
Some of you are asking about places like Cameron Parish. The Advocate and Times-Picayune have reporters deployed all around the whole state today. So we will have updates as we get them from all of these other places. Right now, my coworker Hillary and I are in Lake Charles, and so we're reporting on the damage here. But if you go to the Advocate or the NOLA.com website, you'll be able to see reports from places all around the state, how everybody's faring this morning. What we can tell you is that in Lake Charles, it appears that this was primarily a wind event. There was certainly rain, there were certainly storms, but we're not seeing flooding the way that you might sometimes see after a hurricane. What we are seeing is wind damage.
So here's the only issue about that is we have such bad service right now. I think
if you're thinking about coming into
really
Lake Charles, if you're from here, you're trying to figure out whether you should come back,
is on AT&T.
we have really bad cell service over here right now, and you might just want to think about that.
We don't really have directions,
which is kind of worrisome. So if you're trying to come over here, think about your cell service before you do it. But also, I don't think it's really safe for most people to be out and about quite yet. We're gonna show you as much as we can though. Again, we are on Ryan Street in Lake Charles, reporting on the damage after Hurricane Laura. And if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the comments and we'll try to answer them. You can see these buildings are pretty bad off. This is the aftermath of Hurricane Laura. Here's some damage, some trees. Most of the traffic lights here are out right now. And we're just driving and trying to see what we can of the damage. Here's a building that got pretty wrecked last night. Okay everyone, thank you so much for joining us so far. We're gonna cut out for a little bit and we'll be back as we report more, as we see more. We'll keep you guys updated about what's happening in Lake Charles. Thank you guys so much for joining us and for tuning in. I hope that everybody was safe from the hurricane, and we'll be keeping you guys updated all day long on the damage, which is very extensive in Lake Charles. Very extensive wind damage. Thank you all again, and everybody stay safe.